I'm 30 years old, and I live in a house that never really feels empty, even when I'm the only one inside. It's a two-floor house, technically a mother-daughter setup, 2 kitchens, 2 living spaces, 1 staircase connecting them like a spine. My sister lives downstairs. I live upstairs. We split it that way when we moved in, mostly because she wanted the privacy and I didn't care either way. She's almost never home. Her boyfriend lives about 20 miles away, and most nights she stays with him, so more often than not, the downstairs part of the house is dark, quiet, untouched, like it's holding its breath. I know I'm 30. I know I shouldn't let being home alone bother me, but sometimes it does. Especially at night when the house settles and every sound feels like it's traveling just a little too far. This happened on one of those nights. I was alone upstairs, stretched out on the couch in my living room watching a scary movie. My part of the house is one big open layout. Living room, dining room, kitchen, no walls separating anything. The couch sits right in the middle of the space facing the TV. Which means my back is to a lot of darkness. As the movie played, the only light in the room came from the TV. Everything else was swallowed up. I kept glancing over my shoulder, checking the kitchen, the hallway, the edge of the stairs, leading down to my sister's place. I told myself it was just the movie, that I was psyching myself out. Still, I kept checking. When the movie ended, I shut the TV off, brushed my teeth, turned off every light, and went to bed. I fell asleep fast. And then, I woke up. It was around 1 in the morning. At first, I didn't know why I was awake. That heavy, foggy feeling where your brain hasn't caught up to your body yet. Then I heard a voice. It came from downstairs. It sounded exactly like my sister. Not muffled, not distorted. Her voice. Inside the house. She wasn't calling from outside or knocking. She was already in. I couldn't make out what she was saying at first. Just the tone of her voice. Raised. Urgent, like she was calling up to me or arguing with her boyfriend. Still half asleep, not thinking straight, I assumed she needed something. I got out of bed and stepped into the hallway. It was pitch black. I turned on the hallway light and walked through the living room toward the stairs. That's when I heard her again. This time, I could understand it. She was saying my name. I called back, asking what she wanted, my voice thick with sleep. As I went down the stairs, I reached for the light switch in the downstairs foyer, but my hand brushed empty wall. I missed it completely. I was groggy as hell. I kept moving, following the sound of her voice toward her kitchen. I found the switch there and flipped it on. The lights came up slowly, that dim glow that takes a second to fully brighten, and there was no one there. Not my sister, not her boyfriend. The living room was empty, the kitchen was empty, everything exactly the way it should have been if no one had been home at all. My stomach dropped. I checked her bedroom. Empty. I called her name again, louder this time. No answer. Then, a sound came from her bedroom. Something dropped to the floor. I froze. I had just been in that room. There was no one in it. Nothing out of place. I didn't investigate. I didn't call out again. I turned around and went back up the stairs, fast, like a kid running from a dark basement. I locked myself in my room and grabbed my phone. I called my sister, straight to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. I sat there, door locked, lights off, trying to convince myself I'd imagined everything. Eventually, I fell asleep. In the morning, I had a text from my sister asking why I'd called her at 1 in the morning. I asked if she'd been home. She said no. She'd stayed at her boyfriend's place all night. I went downstairs to her bedroom and searched the floor. There wasn't a single thing out of place. Nothing that could have fallen. Nothing that could have made that sound. I tell myself I hallucinated it. I want to believe that. Because the alternative is worse. And what scares me most is that I've never hallucinated before. Never had sleep disorders. Never heard voices that weren't there. And that wasn't a vague sound. It was my sister's voice. Clear as day. Being alone has always found me, even when I didn't ask for it. When I was 14, my mom was working overnight. She was a single mom at the time, an RN with a brutal schedule. My brother was away at college. It was a weekend night. I had a girl named Molly over. We watched movies, hung out, nothing crazy. Eventually, she had to go home. Her parents didn't like her staying out late, so once again, I was alone. I stayed up in my room watching TV. My bedroom was upstairs, right next to the backyard. We had a deck outside, and sound traveled easily. That's when I heard a chair scrape across the deck. I got up and looked out the window. Someone was sitting in one of the deck chairs. I called out Molly's name, thinking maybe she'd forgotten something. The person looked up at me. It wasn't her. I ducked away from the window so fast my heart nearly tore itself out of my chest. I texted my friends asking if anyone was messing with me. Everyone said no. Some asked what I was talking about. I didn't believe my friends would do something like that anyway. Still terrified, I slowly crept back to the window. He was still there, sitting, looking up at my window. I turned off the TV and crawled into bed, pulling my knees to my chest. I didn't turn my phone on. I didn't move. The window was open, and I was terrified he'd hear me. I waited. 5 minutes passed, maybe more. I convinced myself he had to be gone. When I looked again, he was still there. Instead of running this time, I asked him what he wanted. His shoulders started shaking. He was laughing, not loudly, no sound at first, just his body moving. Then I heard it, a wheezing, whistling sound, like laughter squeezed through broken lungs. I begged him to leave. I left the window again and sat at the top of the stairs, listening. That's when I heard the back door being pushed. He was trying to get in. Then, the front door. I ran back to my room and hid. I was 14. I didn't call the police. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, he left. My mom came home around 9 in the morning. She was furious that I hadn't called 911. She was right. If the doors hadn't been locked, I don't think I'd be here now. When I was 10, my parents left me home alone for the first time under worse circumstances. My older brother had been hit by a car. My parents rushed to the hospital with my little sister. They asked if I was okay staying home. I said yes. I played video games until late, past midnight. Then I heard the front door open. I listened for voices. Nothing. I crept out of my room and looked down over the banister. There were 3 people standing in our living room. They weren't my family. I hid in my closet. They came into my room. They opened the closet door. They stood there for 20 seconds. Then they left. An hour later, my parents came home. The house had been robbed. The front door was still ajar. Years later, as a teenager, I was home alone for an entire week while my parents were on a trip. Our house backed up to woods. One night, I heard a voice calling from the trees. "Hey, over here." I thought it was kids at first. Then the voice said, "We need help." I walked toward the woods. Then the voice said, "I see you." I backed away. Later, he was in the backyard, laughing, banging on the window. I screamed that the police were coming. He laughed harder. Then he left. And when I was 23, I saw a woman standing inside my house, watching me through an upstairs window. That night, she crawled out from under my bed. I fought her. My neighbor helped me restrain her. The police knew her by name. So when people ask me why being home alone still gets to me, I don't know how to explain that it's never been just one thing. It's been a lifetime of nights where I realized too late that being alone doesn't always mean being by yourself. And sometimes, the house remembers that too.